Welcome to the Motley Croc Show. I can believe it's the 27th of March. Seems like the month is flying by, and sorry I'm 5 minutes late, but some of us were late. And I really didn't want to start without being late, so now we're kind of going to start. And I see everybody in the back. I'm looking at their faces right now, so I'm kind of having a good time with this, actually. So while I'm doing that, I'm going to go. We're going to talk about some cool stuff today. Let's see what we got. We're going to remove this. I can bring them on, and we're going to save that. Go up here and let's bring them in after we do comment. Brittany, as always, glad to have you with us. You're always here and you're going to talk about some crazy stuff, I'm sure. And as you know, Brittany's always number two.
Always
glad to have you. Well, you're not, number two is the second thing I'm going to say. But number two, I mean, I don't know. It depends what we're going to talk about today. You guys look bright, though. It's bright and colorful, actually.
Bright. I told you all I was coming straight to the pool, so I'm bright because I'm still in my bathing suit. Woo-hoo.
Right. Craig, what's up, bud?
I love it.
This is really
Hi,
cool.
Craig.
Wow, look at that. Yeah.
Hi.
Everybody's here. Isn't that cool?
Man, I feel like I should have had like a tank top on, chilling in Florida vibes or something.
You should. Heidi, what's up? How you doing?
Hi, Heidi. Where is my
pen? I'm still waiting for people to pop in and out. You know, we get the ones that click on, that hate us, that watch for a little bit, and then get off. And then we start getting like the good, we get a lot of weirdos. You were going to talk about a homo therius or something. Homo. You said I'm going to talk about a homo tonight. So tell me what homo is, and let's get. I'm serious. I read the thing. It's about homo florensis. What's up, Bill?
Homo. I like the homos.
I know you do. I'll make sure I tell Anne. But can you
I'm gonna text him right now. Talk about homos, and I just want you to know I love you.
Yeah.
No, the thing is like, so I think everybody who knows me knows I love to challenge the shit out of everything. And so I just do. And to the point, like, there's just no return. But what's interesting to me is like, so we get ridiculed all the time for the possibility of believing in what literally in the 70s and 80s was called a missing link, an upright, bipedal hominid, ape-like, human-like creature, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Yet we know we have over 100, if not more. Actually, when I looked further into it, right now we're up to 170, if not more, untouched tribes throughout the entire globe that we know exist.
Bye, Troy.
I'm here. I didn't go anywhere. I'm here. I'm just have to do something with this here for the chats. That's all.
Oh, okay. That's so weird. Okay, hello. Welcome to the Motley Croc Show. I'm your host. No, but so like I dug deeper into it, and we're now coming up to, I guess there's more even, but right now they're saying we do calculate to have about 170 untouched tribes throughout the world, right? Whether they're smaller, minimal populations, even the one tribe literally has one man left in his tribe, and they're just monitoring him until he dies, which I think is scary. It's like in the Amazon. He's like the last of this particular tribe, and they've been monitoring him and watching him, but like he's the last one of his people. So like when he goes,
from disease, like why is he the last one?
I don't know. I didn't look specifically into the detail as to why in this particular region, this one tribe all died out but him. Now, I don't know if parts of his tribe moved on, but he stayed, and he's the last to stay in this particular region or area. But you can look into it. I thought it was fascinating. I'm like, this one guy, this loner, this poor guy, because they have actual pictures of him like hacking at a tree to pull some of the fibers from the tree to make stuff. But allegedly he's like the last of his particular direct line to that tribe. He's the last one, and they're like monitoring him until he's gone. It's weird. I don't know. It's just fascinating. And I didn't get the name. But I believe it was in the Amazon. I want to say Amazon. But what fascinates me is like, okay, so we know that we have these tribes that remain untouched, some of which we know they exist because of other indigenous in the area that have told us about them, but they don't go into their parts. They stay away from them. And so we aren't even sure how many in the population there are in certain tribes, because we only are getting like third-party information to control and understand where they are. So we don't go into those territories because they wouldn't know who we are and allegedly cause problems to their untouched understanding of the world around them. So we have ancient people in an essence, it's ancient tribes. And then there's anthropologists talking now on the island of Flores. I don't think I'm pronouncing that right.
In Southeast Asia.
Yeah. Yep. That are now talking about the Homo floresiensis, which is the tall pygmy tribe, the tall pygmy people from 60 to 100,000 years ago that died off, allegedly, that now are believed to still be alive.
Those are the ones that everyone's calling the hobbits, right? Like the actual hobbits.
Yeah. That they're now confirming through the local indigenous known as the Leo tribe, I think Lio, the Leo tribe. And they say, yeah, they still exist. They're up there. We see them all the time. They live in this remote part. They're up there. So now anthropologists, now based off too much perfect geographical understanding from this said tribe and understanding of how they look, talking about little wild hairy men that still live up there. Now they're saying the descriptions, the details, the way they hunt, the way they move, everything matches what they had already allegedly believed the Homo floresiensis actually looked like, acted like, and would have lived in. So it's in the exact same region, and they think they're still alive, like still existing today, that it didn't go extinct.
And this is just based on observations from other surrounding tribes.
Yeah. And alleged archaeologists in the area claiming to have seen them.
I think there's a wild animal outside. 1 second. My dog is giving the bark that there's an animal outside. 1 second. I've had tons of animals in my yard lately.
I love this. For anyone wondering where they can actually read about this particular essay that was written by the anthropologist who has been studying this territory on the island since 1984 to 2003, you can go to sapiens.org and read his entire hypothesis. And they're still continuing to do the research because they firmly 100% believe in the plausibility that these pygmy people still exist. The hobbit known mini hominids or Homo floresiensis still exists today, which honestly is huge because they were supposed to have existed 60 to 100,000 years ago. So we're talking about an ancient human relic still possibly. So my biggest fight with this is if you're writing a hypothesis and belief because you're choosing to listen to the indigenous people that are saying we see them all the time. We just stay out of the remote region because they're scared of us because we're taller. We intimidate them and they give all these details. But yet
they're supposed to be like 4 or 5 feet.
I believe they were like 3.5. Between 3.5 to 4 feet. I have the article. Let me see if it talks about the exact height because they were trying to figure out based off, like when our skeletal remains settle in the dirt, you get a little bit of a gap between the bones because the cartilage and tissue go away.
Yes.
So when they have to lay the bodies back out, they have to like incorporate that. So when they first saw them, they thought, oh my gosh, they're so much smaller because they were putting the bones like this together. But as we've learned how the body process happens within dirt and sand and cartilage and stuff. So we have to allow for that mini separation. So some of it has adds some size to them now versus how it was before.
Because my whole thing is that, I mean, you even look at Homo sapiens from way back in the day, and we were obviously a lot smaller. We're seeing it in our lifetime right now in regards of more nutrition, just better health, how the next generation is growing in height. So I would think that the Floresiensis, they are bigger than what they have found from the skeletons that are like about 60,000 years old, is from what you're saying. But my other thing is, amongst the genus of Homo, I can't say the F word, right? Everyone is fornicating amongst each other. And so I would think amongst some of the local tribes, they just do some genetics and they might be able to find some like Floresiensis because, Romeo and Juliet, star-crossed lovers kind of thing. And someone from different tribes started interbreeding, and
Mm-hmm.
they're finding DNA of Neanderthal in us,
Yeah.
Denisovan, and so I would
Yep.
think for those local tribes that they would probably be able to find the Floriensis.
I would think so. I mean, apparently they're still looking in that region. Hold on. Troy said it booted him off and he is coming back on. Well, it's really fascinating though, is as
turn it off lately. What's going on?
I know. It's all of our energy in one place. Here's the kicker, right? So like the Leo tribe there, they refer to them as the ape men of the forests, the little ape men, because they're all hairy. Like they're really hairy little ape people. They call them that, like the ape men. Like what they call them is translated to ape men. And so like the anthropologist was like, I've never seen an ape man personally myself, but everyone here that works in this region, works in this area, are claiming they see them and they just stay away from them. So I don't know. It's a very interesting read. I took a lot of it and I went, what's really fascinating about this for me is, so it's okay when it aligns with what you want to teach, but it's not okay when it doesn't line up. So how do you pick and choose indigenous? Right? Oh, I got it. So what this indigenous tribe is saying through like, I'm putting my mindset as an anthropologist for a second, right? So I'm like, okay, here's my study. Here's what I know. This is what I've been taught. But I'm going to pick what this indigenous tribe is saying because we've already found this skeletal remains from, dating 60 to 100,000 years ago. And if they're telling me that they might still exist, this could be mind-blowing for science. But if you flip it to the other side of other indigenous, even in Indonesia, for God's sake, or Sumatra with the orangapendek, you've got people saying we've got a 4-foot tall monkey man running around, wild man running around. They're like, yeah, whatever. No, you're not. Well, what's any different from that indigenous tribe with their story and this indigenous tribe with this story? To me, I'm looking at going, well, I'm putting my science cap on. I'm looking at this like, oh, well, it's just because we found some bones. Now we want to back this.
Yeah.
Versus we don't have any bones to prove orangapendek, but you do. Because in Sumatra, we have ancient Homo, what is the one in Indonesia? Shoot. But we do actually have relic humans in Indonesia and Sumatra and other places like this that we have other types of the wild man or the orangapendek. We have fossils showing ape man-like creatures dating back to 60 to 80,000 years, but we're not recognizing those tales to match up. So why is it okay on Island of Flores? Do you see what I'm saying? This is where I get frustrated. Why is it okay when it fits your narrative, but it's not okay when it doesn't?
And this just goes back to academia. And we've talked about this so many times where a lot of it is the superiority complex, but also just there's institutionalized racism when it comes to academia, where they don't want to believe these stories of the indigenous people because of this subconscious institutionalized racism. No, because we're better than them. And the stories that they're telling are, it's folklore. You're the word you love.
Folklore.
It's folklore. It's all, we can't believe what they say, because if we believe what they say, then that means that we're making them equals on the table, and we don't want to do that because we still want to be able to throw around our various degrees, our masters, our PhD, and just kind of like shove it in the nose that we're better than everyone else and we know more than everyone else. For those that obviously see, I am a doctor. I did get my PhD, but there is a reason I am no longer in academia. So
exactly.
I'm tired of the red tape, and I'm tired of the bullshit, and I'm tired of them trying to force the thoughts and the beliefs when a lot of it is just all crap. So
but see, that's why I like the challenge, because I love that. And I bring this up to you a lot, like in our conversations, because as I'm going through, I'm not having, I think that's the best part for me, is I'm not having different individuals in different classes continuing to push something down me or encourage me to read a piece, but it's not the whole piece. Like there's things to it. And I think what's really cool is I get to look at it a little bit differently. And then I get to call you and be like, hey, so I found something here. Can you help me make sense? And then you're like, no, because it's stupid. It's effing dumb. It's never going to make sense. That's what I challenge too. That doesn't make sense. That's what I'm talking about. So I'm like, oh, so I'm not the only one. I'm not crazy. Thank God. But it's like, I just get mad. And like I said to you, here I was trying to make a point. So it's okay to hypothesize that we have a particular ancient human running around still in the jungle. We know we have untouched tribes that are ancient, that don't even know that a freaking bird is not a bird, it's a helicopter, right? Like, because they have not been taught, because they have not seen that the outside world has evolved. But yet when people come forward with claims of a primate-like species still existing in the woods, and they're saying, I'm freaking sorry, but I saw it and it's scary as shit, immediately it's a no. It's a no. And I find that silly.
And again, it's more of the modern scientists, the Euro-American, global North science, they need those facts. And I get that being trained in that particular world, but it's
he's back. Our leader is back.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hi.
I'm still touching up some things. It's just I got booted off. Like the whole computer just went pew, everything. So I'm like, boy, I hope they're still on. But that's all I'm doing. Keep talking. Sorry.
It's that Florida technology, that Wi-Fi, Troy.
Anytime I connect with you, it does this. I know you guys tie wires around palm trees and shit. I heard Brittany talk about one last of the tribe because they were making toys with wheels and not wheels to get out of there. We'll talk about that.
I told you I dropped some knowledge. I dropped some bombs on you the other day because I was like, this whole crap that he says that Native Americans didn't invent the wheel, that is wrong. And I looked it up, and yes, there were wheels. There were wheels on toys. There was wheels on other things. They just didn't have the beast of burden to really develop agriculture and like other large infrastructure. But even without that, look at some of the amazing Maya temples that have been created that are equivalent to that of the ancient Egyptians. And what's so fucking cool, wait, can I say that word? I can't remember.
I don't care what you're saying here.
He says
Brittany's
it all
the only one that worried about that stuff.
Why? I'm blurred on Instagram again, so it doesn't matter. I don't say anything and I'm blurred again, so it is what it is.
I know. It's so
like
awful.
the most innocence of the three, and you get blurred. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Out of everybody I know, I'm the least, and yet I'm the one that they're like, target her.
All right, I gotta catch up. I'm gonna see stuff here. So TJ came in. Okay, Lance is here. I'm trying to see who's here, guys, because I had to reboot like an idiot. Keep talking, guys. I'm just trying to pop everybody's comments up.
But real quick, going like to with the Maya temples and stuff, as there's more evidence that's coming out that the ancient Maya civilization was probably more advanced than the ancient Egyptian. Now, we all probably have heard the last week or so about what they have found underneath the pyramids. But I have had colleagues that have been studying some of that stuff for quite a long time in this region, and they have been finding things underneath the Maya temples. So it looks like we have two ancient civilizations that have these secrets underneath the ground. And so I know in a couple of years, we're going to find out more about the Maya temples. The one thing that I do think is really, really cool is you go back to the Mesoamerica culture. So we're going back to the Olmec, the Toltec, the Zoltec, the Mexica, which is that we call as the Aztec. And the
Zoltec, I thought that was like something you took for your stomach.
The Zoltec, I thought, is this
Zyrtec? I don't know, something like
Zyrtec is allergies.
Oh, maybe that's what it was. They were allergic to people.
Who was the villain for Superman? Wasn't it like a Zol something?
Maybe. I don't know.
Oh. Yeah, I think you're right.
I was thinking of the villains from Superman.
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't remember. I wasn't much of a Superman. I was more Marvel. So DC was not my friend.
Yeah. No, but so one of the things that they're finding, which is really, really cool, is like through the LiDAR and then the excavation with some of the Maya temples here is that, so one, we do know that the crocodiles were highly revered in Mesoamerican culture, the ancient Mesoamerican culture, and they're finding cities in the shape of crocodiles.
That's really awesome.
And at the nose of the cities, you have a cenote. And
So
the cenote is a way to get into the underworld, into the heavens, into the gods.
We were talking about that. The underworld.
The underworld.
Shaboba. But do you remember you and I were talking about this? And do you remember you found, and you sent it to me, that tiling done in Egypt in one of the pyramids that was Maya? Do you remember? You sent that to me, which showed that the Maya had actually traveled and visited with the Egyptians. So who knows if they were both exchanging technology and understanding of what they needed to do together.
Crazy.
Because people, when it comes to ancient texts, and I'm obsessed with ancient Egypt, obsessed, and I am not shocked at all because Tesla himself said these are used for more than just burying up Pharaoh. They are more. They're meant for transmitting energy of some sort, and we will figure it out one day. He was hell bent on that, and he was right. And when you look at him being covered in white limestone, it brings in and it releases energy. It's like a natural battery source, white limestone. And then they were capped with gold, which was a battery. So if these pillars that are underneath with the two chambers housed energy, who knows what the Maya were also tapping into, but advancing it further of saying, hey, those guys thought about this, but what if we added this? And I think that we don't give them enough credit. That's like whenever the crystal skulls get brought up, we know that we have out of I think 12 or 13 of them, 3 of them or something like that still cannot be proven how they were made because the crystals themselves are from that period of time.
Yeah.
But in order to polish them the way that they are, when they put them underneath a scope, they're polished in a certain way, in a consistency of a certain pattern, which means that it was done by a type of machine, right? So to them, they're like, it's a fake, it's a hoax. But I'm sitting there going, maybe you just haven't found the tool or the machine that they used yet to do that. You just assume because you haven't found the missing piece to explain that. You're looking at it as modern technology may have made this. We don't give them enough credit for how advanced they actually were. When we know in Greece we had working computers in Rome. So this a type of computer system, not like Mac guys, but I just don't think we give them enough credit.
No, and someone had brought up a really interesting theory in regards of we probably have had cycles of ancient civilizations, at very advanced, where they had the flying objects, they had a source of energy, but something caused these civilizations to collapse. And all we see are these remnants. There's going to be certain parts of, even in our civilization, if there was an alien invasion similar to Independence Day and the world, our species got wiped out, and then thousands of years from now, those little survivors start becoming a little bit more advanced, they're going to look at some of the remnants of Florida, of Belize, of LA, and just be like, oh, but these civilizations were not very advanced. How did they, it's just these buildings. All you're going to have left is buildings. And that's all that we're finding from these other civilizations. But we probably, just how we see climate change has been in cycles. We've seen extinctions go in cycles. I think we probably have also had cycles of advanced civilizations, and something has caused them to collapse in a way that we think that they were not that advanced, because we haven't found what has caused the advancement.
I agree with that. I 100% agree with that, because you can see that in different cultures across the way. Look at the Dark Ages that we went through. If we were so advanced going through all this, what made us go back through the Dark Ages? What was taken from us? What knowledge was taken for us to cause us to go? How did we go from that type of technology to literally?
But see, we don't even know if we really went through the Dark Ages now, do we?
No, we don't.
Right?
That's what we're told.
There's a teaching that we went through the Dark Ages, but that just could have been a mass cover-up, right? And you can use natural catastrophes on the planet like ice storms, severe storms, or alien invasions, whatever people want to talk about, or God's vengeance or whatever. And then they use that power to suppress. So they suppressed. That's why all the torture devices were. And you could go down to your local market and rape a kid. There was just so much of that going on that, and nobody cared.
Right.
Let's look at Pompeii. How long did they keep Pompeii hidden from everybody?
Oh yeah. The truth of Pompeii.
That was a raw dog in town. You go down there and catch yourself an Indian like Marissa, pass around all your friends, drink. Just make sure you paid her at the end of the night. And they didn't even have synthetic lube. So those girls fucking worked. I'm sorry to say.
They did.
Yeah.
They
They
did.
did.
Those
And
brothels
it was also
were busy.
prominent in all kinds of stuff, homosexuality. So there were like
Yeah.
certain ones where if there was two cocks on the wall, that was two men. If there was like, you know, a penis and a vagina on the wall, it's like that's where you can go and do both. Or I mean, it was
They
weird.
even
And
had
like,
coins.
we can't show them that. We can't show them that. I
But
mean,
you know
how
what's
people
funny?
inserted into each other when they burnt in the ash.
But you know what's funny though is that they actually had coins for that time in Pompeii. Did you ever see the coins?
See,
So you would hand the coins, and on one side of the coin, it would give you how much the value of that coin was. So that means the value of the time you would get with that individual in that room. And on the other side was the sexual act that would take place. So there are coins with different sexual acts
yeah,
carved
and then nobody
into
liked
them.
that because why have everybody happy? Why have everybody happy all the time? So let's ruin something.
Yeah. Well, that
You
was
know.
at least
mean,
on that one, that
many
was a
lifetimes
natural
ago-
disaster.
Many lifetimes ago, as a colonizer, a violent colonizer, I actually was in Pompeii in one of my past lives, and Marissa was running at least 3/4 of it. I killed her ass long time before them ashes came through there. Let me tell you what, we shut her down.
Still in pain.
We took it over.
Oh my
We said, "This is a
God.
hostile takeover. You're done." She did some shit, tried to battle us. She shot it with a couple wooden bow and arrows. It would bounce off the armor, and then I felt bad. I'm like, we can't. Yeah, we just got to take her out. We'll see you in the next life, and that was it.
That was it.
That was it.
Those are my nightmares at night.
And then she came back all pissed
Yes.
off. I wasn't there anymore, and then ashed the whole place.
Yeah.
So I mean, at the end of the day, I still got away.
That's amazing. I love that.
I mean, at the end of the day, isn't that what we all do? We got to get away.
Got to get away.
Because I believe there's going to be people on here that actually completely disagree with me. But there's a part of me that wants to say, like, I believe. Why? You can't make fun of what I'm saying here. Listen, I believe that.
You're very serious. I'm sorry. Just I got distracted by something. It's fine.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
sorry, you got
That's
distracted.
just, you know.
Too many warriors in the room. I think that we've been around a few lifetimes. I don't know that we're like this because I don't believe this. Like a lot of people are like, oh, it's your little soul. And this pops. It's the one thing. I think our soul is infinity, I believe. And there's a lot of different areas you can go. Like sometimes, like we talked about before, Marissa, transcending and going into, different realms. I think it's real. I think a lot of that stuff has been suppressed. People can call me crazy. I can't tell you it's real or fake. Just like I can't tell you Bigfoot's fake or real.
No, but it's your theory. It's what you believe.
I don't really know that I even believe it. I just have to take
But it's a good theory.
personal things that I think about or what happens to me or how, for instance, I was talking with my buddy Sean earlier about, really just getting inside and opening up the subconscious and working within there. But they don't want you to do that.
No.
When it's interesting to me because I'll say this, and it probably happens to a lot of people in they just don't realize it at the time that it's happening because they're just going on with things and like, oh, that worked out good. But there'll be times when I've actually meditated pretty strong and I've cleared up my passage a little bit on how I'm going to view things and what I'm not going to let happen. And there will be like, I'll be walking. I'm just going to use this as an example because it happened. I'll be walking through the yard and I'll find a lock in the back of the property, a lock. Okay. Well, about 3 hours later, I get done building something and I need a lock. I'm like, holy shit. It gave it to me. I used the lock. That could be coincidence, right?
Mhm.
And then as the day goes on, that's happening throughout the entire day. Some days it doesn't happen at all. I just wake up in the morning. I start my regular, I got to do this. My routine is I've got to take 9 billion animals out, make sure that everybody's okay.
Yep.
And everybody's angry. It's that time of the year. They're all pumping 2 Live Crew. Everybody's having sex. I mean, turtles are fucking logs, each other. The birds are horny. The monitors are fucking each other.
You need Pompeii in your backyard.
I do.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And then I got this dominant female tortoise that's always banging all the other females. Like, this is my town kind of. So I got all this to do. But if I have time in the morning to just not hear the grunts, like I have to get away from it because I don't know if y'all heard turtles and tortoises when they do, and it's loud and bounces around, and the bird will scream back, and then the owl gets pissed, and it's like this fucking jungle.
Because they don't want to hear it. They're like, I don't want to hear this right now.
Yeah, and those little the Burmese
trying to
brown
drink my
mountain
coffee.
tortoises, they sound like dirty old men in a porn studio. I mean, bro. I'm like, what was that? And I look, and it's a brown. He's banging that big brown again. My mom had one named Ricky. She named it Ricky, and it would just fuck everything, and it would make that noise. She's like, "Can you hear it in the background again?" I'm like, she goes, "It doesn't stop. It doesn't stop." But so if I can meditate, it's like those days will fall into place for me, and
Yeah.
shit just starts getting handed to you, like it's just like almost like a peers, and you're not even asking for it. I'm telling you, that stuff is real. They don't want you to think that because they want you to be like, oh, you know, you got to do X, Y, and Z or whatever. And I don't know. I just think that there's so much indoctrination to keep people at a flat level.
Absolutely.
Like putting a bunch of kids. We all know that some of you people in the world, you have dumb kids. There's no way to put that. Some of you have really, really intelligent kids. Some of you have some of the ugliest kids that are on the planet. I see them at Walmart after 10 p.m. And then I think to myself, you put them all in the same room and you want everybody on the same level.
Wow.
And I was talking to Justin the other day. He talks about how they were mad at a school that his kids go to a school where it's a public school, but they're not allowed to wear their own jacket. And we're not going to tell Justin this because he fucking he's just going to flip out. And they said, you have to buy, the jacket has to match. Our school has to have our logo. You can't wear it here. And he was like, fuck you. If it's cold, I'm sending my daughter to school in her own goddamn jacket. We're not buying one with your fucking tiger or whatever he said on it. That's indoctrination. That's pumping them with this belief that nobody can express themselves. When
I don't like
school
that.
in the 90s and even in the 80s, unless you went to one of those Christian schools or like a private school where they, you know, fucking charge a lot of money and you got to do a certain thing. In the public school, there was emo kids, there were jocks, there were
you had your own image.
There were the Tootie Gooties or whatever, like you, Brittany, and then there was the rave people, like the ravers, you know, the fire ravers. There was the metalheads, the people who worship Satan and listen to heavy metal and kill cats on the weekends. There were all of them. They were all there, all of us. Now, everybody has to wear a shirt that looks like this, or it has to be a polo. I absolutely, and I'll say it again, absolutely disagree with that whatsoever.
So I went to Catholic school, and then for high school, I went to an all-girl Catholic high school. And yes, you had to wear that uniform.
Thank you, Angie. I'm getting through these.
Hello. And so, but the one thing that was really cool was we were still able to express ourselves. So that was like during my raver period. It was a
rave girl.
Rave girl. So I would come to school with like glitter on my face. I would have pigtails and like the little barrettes in the hair. And then I would wear the candy. And then I would like wear the little candy
bracelets and necklaces.
Yeah, we had them because we're older people. We called them candy kids. I like them because they usually die in the bathrooms at the nightclubs, and I worked in the nightclubs, so it would be like all night long. And then you go to the bathroom, it'd be a dude on the floor like this, foaming at the mouth. We're like, hey, man, we got one of those ecstasy guys or GHBers on the floor in the downstairs bathroom. Oh, that's awesome. Or they would shit themselves and like fill their pants up with like a whole bunch of baby carrots or whatever the fuck they ate the night before, and you're vomiting all the time. Those candy kids, if they didn't swallow their tongue or sucking on a candy, I mean, y'all were crazy.
So as
crazy.
You're not going to believe me. I know you're probably not going to believe me, but I didn't do drugs. Like I did not.
I'm not saying that you did. I'm saying candy kids. You were dancing with the candy kids.
I was dancing.
You know, when they're like touching each other.
I'm sorry. Can you do that one more time?
Yeah, I did. They go like this.
Okay, yeah.
Or they'll stick their tongue on things. Or they'll like rub their genitalia like this when they're dancing on a chair. I'm like, why are they doing that on the chair? And I'm like a biker at the time.
Feeling the music.
I'm throwing ice water over there. Get out of here, you fucking motherfucker. What are you doing over here?
Feeling the music. The music transcends into you. Become the
bullshit.
Music.
They're feeling the ecstasy. We're not going to sit here and lie about that.
But no, the ecstasy makes you feel the music.
Well, you should know that because you ain't never done it. Remember?
The dance, and then you do the dance that you're doing.
And I did have friends in my life that did so much of it, they completely depleted themselves of serotonin, and that's a problem with it. And
absolutely.
If they didn't take one of our friends, if he didn't take his pill to keep his serotonin levels, Brittany, he turned into like a fucking zombie. He would just sit like this.
No, it's bad.
Maybe he forgot his pill. So thank God later on they came out with these injections and they went once a month. Because if you forgot your pill, you were just
oh my God. No, I never did drugs. Thank God.
all because you wanted to wear Janko jeans and dance around like a goddamn spider monkey.
Hey, I had a pair of Jankos.
Yeah,
Jankos were good.
You found those at a fucking thrift store. I'll tell you right now.
No, they were still selling when I got them.
Because they were around when you were growing up. I'm telling you. That's way old. That's back in the 90s, Brittany.
But I'm
Brittany,
aware.
I wore Jankos in 1995.
I know, but they sold them at that time in my size too. I had pairs of Jankos because you had a pair of black ones with the neon green Janko on the back.
When you were shopping with mom, it's not like you were in the business.
I didn't say I was working clubs.
If I wore my Janko jeans to work,
I wore them to some of my activities with my friends.
I did have some. I had like really cool ones, like with lime green frogs
you did.
and shit. And I would just be really crazy with them because I worked at a bar. And anytime I wore Janko jeans, because we used to skate too, and when they were really blousy, you wanted big pants. That's just the way it was. When I wore Janko jeans, everybody asked me for drugs. Hey man, you got any beans? I'm like,
yeah, wait, I got some in my pockets. Like way back.
And I'll stick a little pink elephant on your neck, and I'll send you for a fucking trip, boy.
So, Brittany, I don't know if I've sent this. I've sent it to Troy, but friends tagged me on it because it's an Instagram meme that's going around. But it's from my high school.
I do remember that, Seth.
It's from my high school when it was a high school dance, and all of us ravers we're all dressed up, and it's become like a 90s, like a 90s meme. I'll send it to you. You can see me. I'm all dressed up like super raver. I've got my little lunchbox, which was my purse.
With the big sneakers? Did you wear big sneakers?
I think I had pants with a soccer jersey, and then you can see my hair and like the glitter.
What was your dad like when you saw
I want to see it. I gotta see it.
Go the clown again.
No, my dad. Oh, my dad. So I love my parents, especially my dad, because he was like, express yourself. But my dad was like, because he told me one of his coworkers is like, oh God, these teenage girls, they're just asking for like $200 jeans and this and that. And my dad's like, my girl's going to the thrift store, because that was the rate thing. Like you go to thrift stores, and you get, like, old school stuff, and so it was like nothing. And then I was making a lot of my jeans because that was the other thing is that you would get jeans, old jeans, and then you would split them to make bell bottoms, and you would get like crazy patterns. So I was creating my own clothes as well. And so my dad was like, "Oh yeah, this is."
I want to tell you though, Marissa, I did look at some collective. Okay, there's like certain series of jeans in certain eras are like a big thing. I found Jankos for like $5,000 and $6,000.
What?
Online. Some rare pairs. When Janko was at its biggest part of its career, right? It was very big in the West Coast. It was very big in the East Coast. It was very big in the nightlife. But there were certain series that they would just release of certain pants, right? Like there'd be like black ones that would have like these lime green chains on them with like a frog on acid, like all fucked up, or a whole stack of mushrooms. What's that?
No, I'm telling Brittany, I just sent her the picture of.
Oh, okay.
Wait, and then I found them, and they were
like $6,500. Do I?
Yeah, because you should see how much.
I was as big as you when I had those. I'm gonna wear them on my leg now.
No, but you listen. Hold up now. You still have some things though that you've kept. Like that was something that you had. I didn't know if maybe you kept some of those because sometimes you had some shoes too that you're like, I don't know, really.
Yeah, because I wasn't the baller on a budget like her. I would go buy a $200 pair of Jankos. You know what I'm saying? Like you remember, I had cash businesses. I was making money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, yeah, I know.
Little stuff. I had a little scale. I used to make money. You know what I'm saying? So I would buy the best of the best, and then they would get stolen. People would come to the house and be like, "Oh yeah," and then I'd have something missing.
Get it, Marissa? Freaking love that picture.
Isn't that cool?
Mm-hmm.
That's a good picture.
Yeah.
For some reason, I just thought that maybe you had some stokes. I'd be like, I would go check and see how much those jeans are right now.
I still probably wouldn't sell them even if I did have them.
Just keep them.
Like they were cool. Yeah, they were.
I was going to say, I wonder if I have them as well.
That'd be cool. Look and see what you have left, and then look them up because you should have them framed and in your office. That's probably what I would do. I'd put them in the glass frames, because you can be a celebrity in your own mind.
So those pants I'm wearing in that picture, Brittany, I still have those, and those are Those are the plaid pants of my uncle from the 70s, and those pants I still wear them.
That's awesome.
Well, that's because they made you to work back
cool, though. That's right, they did. You know, I have a bitch about that. Like the jeans that we wore in like the 90s versus the jeans now. People forget that I want secure jeans, right? And then they started like giving women jeans. It's like, oh, it stretches for you. No, honey, I don't want nothing to stretch. If I'm wearing these, I want everything tight and held in. I want it to all come out when I take them off. So I'm like pissed that I can't find a good pair of like Levi's.
Camouflage.
Yeah, like I'm telling you, like I'm like I don't want to have to wear Spanx under it. Like the jeans were denim for a reason, to help hold everything in and make you look good. Didn't matter what they look like when they came off. Like who cared? But it was like they don't make that anymore. It's like everything has like stretch to them. I'm like, no, Levi's. When I grew up, and we would have Rainbows and Levi's,
nobody likes that. We like,
and you couldn't breathe. But you know what? You looked good in them. They held you in good.
Get a yeast infection. You know.
No, yeah, you can go up a size. I'm just saying.
Don't laugh. Like, it's true, Mercy. You can't wear your shit that tight, man. Cookie cutters make you sick. Don't listen to don't listen to Marissa and her bullshit with her laughs and stuff. Again, let me run this for you. They need to. You know what pisses me off?
Because she's the leader of that.
We get shadow casted on here, and like there's a lot. They making me jump through hoops, and they're like cutting me off in my broadcast in different areas here I'm watching too. I don't like that whole situation, how that works, how they can control the algorithms in certain.
That's not right.
Yeah, somehow it's somebody's got a little. They're pinning it, or too many people are complaining. It's probably those motherfuckers that just followed me.
Oh, all the Christians.
Yes, dude. They always do that. It's like, what do they do? And then they can't win, and then they sabotage me. Oh, he's got a. Oh, you're reported for animal abuse or something. There's a picture of an animal on a wire or something like that or something. It's like okay, and then you got to dispute a fucking robot.
Yeah.
First of all,
and they have to review it.
Yeah, and I'm like, look at that picture again. Or I posted the kangaroo and I got in trouble for posting nudity. Yep, he was laying on his back with his legs spread like this. It was hilarious, and he was digging at his chest. I have the video. I'll send it to you privately. He was going like this. And his legs were up in the air, and I posted as a lazy day or whatever, and the tortoise was having something to eat next to him. And they said, you've been flagged for sexual activity.
Oh my God.
I'm like, you stupid motherfuckers. I wrote that, you stupid motherfuckers. It's a goddamn kangaroo. And I haven't got anything back yet.
What idiot. Oh my God. Oh my God.
I know, but you can have these motherfuckers, these girls on here showing their fucking pubic hair, and you can wear a G-string and show your butthole. But if I show a god, and I might say he's the sexiest goddamn kangaroo in this fucking town, and he's laying out there scratching his chest like he owns the place, I want to post it.
I'm so over that bullshit. I vented to Marissa about this the other day. Like, look at my content, Troy. Hello. And then like I make that post, right? Do you know that somebody hold on, not that fun one. That was my fun one. But I posted that one. I was just having the serious conversation, right, about like what we were just talking about earlier in the show. And I told Marissa, because I had to delete and block.
It's bots, Judy. It's the robots that catch the image. It isn't a person. I'll tell you. Go ahead. To delete and block this individual because they commented on my post that basically said it was something in the words of like, look at you pretending to be so smart, but if you were smart enough, you would get your teeth fixed. Another tooth comment. I didn't. To me. I would come with my teeth painted black the next episode.
But I was just like, and this person only had, I think it was like 7 followers, and it didn't even have a picture. It was just an empty picture. So somebody created it to just troll, like just to.
Or somebody you know, and they're jealous of you, and they'll come and go, "Oh hi" to your face, and then they'll go troll you.
That happens.
I like it. I always get that, Aunt. You better be careful, Margaret Miller. And I go look at it. You better be careful around him. You know, we get those when he comes into my house.
On that, and I was like,
be aware,
what do they need to be careful?
Be aware of your surroundings. Whatever they do. And then I open up their page, and it's like Margaret in a picture holding on a shopping cart at Publix smiling.
Oh my God.
And it says Ezekiel 31:5, prayer warrior. I'm like, fuck you and your 3 followers. Okay? Yeah. Fuck you. Like, you're not saving anything for God. All 3 of you guys going to march out here? You don't read the Bible. Demons, their names are legion. We're one of billions. So your 3 followers, done. And so just to add to the fuel in the fire, folks, you never let anybody know what you truly think. But if you're going to paint a picture of me, I'm going to be the best at it. Like Marissa and I have talked about that I can be. You want to call me a Satanist homosexual propagator, I'm going to have satanic symbolism and a gay man next to me in another show. I'm going to do it. So I brought in Ant, who's this terrible gay propagator of homosexuality, and a Satanist sat together. And I think it's great. And so you're going to keep saying it's going to get better and better. Call me what you will.
People. I feel sorry for them. And in the ways of the country, in the ways of the,
believe you don't love it.
They're projecting their problems as people. They're the couch conservationists, the typewriter warriors, and all that. And
I like them though. They spend a lot of time masturbating and eating sugar, and so they're not going to live long. And it brings them pleasure to yell at you.
Well, it's not even yelling at you. In some cases, it's just like belittling, to just be rude for some reason. It's so stupid to me. But I like, for me, I delete and block, and I'm like, that's the only thing you could find wrong with me was my teeth. I'll take it. Thank you. Like, I was like, okay. But I
never even realized that you had a problem with your teeth. I mean, we all can't be perfect. Like Marissa.
I mean, like, I know that I have, like, I'm not that person. I don't care to go get
she snaps them in before she goes to work.
Listen, that girl's got some, she's got a pretty smile.
Near smiles. I used to have a terrible smile. Not anymore. But they're normal. They're real. I've seen them up close.
I know. I know. She's got good confidence in there.
I have to thank the 6'4", 200-pound man put me down when I was
I put pentagrams on
17. When I was 17, and he moved.
Where?
So, once upon a time, during my rave days as well, I was playing soccer, and I was all about being the next Mia Hamm.
She's gonna start feeling the music now. Hold on.
I know she'll start with her neck. I'm like, don't let her do that. I want to leave.
Yeah, Roxbury.
Yeah. So I still have some records in California for our soccer, and I was a forward. Goals. I was going to be on the Olympic team. I was going to be on the next Mia Hamm.
You were a what?
A soccer player.
Soccer player.
I was on the horde. I'm like, what is that? What is a horde with a D? No. Like you guys group up?
No.
It sounded like that. I'm sorry. I was like, you're a what? On the horde.
No. So anyway, so there's these guys in my neighborhood, and they would play soccer 3 times a week. And I was like, some of them were semi-pro in Europe. So I was like, well, if I want to be the next Mia Hamm, like I want to practice with these guys, I want to play with these guys, it'll make me better, tougher, all that stuff. So anyways, there was this guy, I think his name was Tommy, 6'4", 200 pounds, and then there's this other guy, Chip. And so Tommy had the ball. And Chip and I were trying to like get the ball from him, but Tommy Chip, yeah, the guy's name was Chip. And so Tommy, he fell in a little hole, and he tried to grab my shoulder for balance, but instead he went.
Oh,
so this like 200 pounds, 6'4" man just fucking punched me, right? And I was like, whoa, what's going on? Kept going. My teeth the next day, they were hurting. And I just happened to be going to the dentist, but it literally moved my teeth. This tooth popped out a little bit, another tooth went back, but like the guy moved my teeth. So then I had to get braces. And so that's why I have.
That's terrible, dude. Oh. You know, it reminds me of all the band videos that came out. And I know the world's going to hate me for this, but I
got pretty
absolutely cheap, Marissa and Brittany loved these videos. Now they were all filmed on VHS because back in those days there really wasn't cell phone cameras. But when they would go to heavy metal concerts, we had rocker chicks, and they would they go into the mosh pit, and you would see guys, dude, like that slam. I mean, swing full bore and knock them into Raggedy Ann dolls. When they hit the ground, their bowels released, and they were done. And I'm like, why would you get in there with these fucking Neanderthals when they're slam dancing, dude?
Yeah.
And they get in there like they're cool, and the girl
you're
goes
so
to swing
tiny.
around, a big guy just goes, boom, punch him in the face. They're like, I mean, they just go right to sleep. It's just funny how your hands do shit like this when you get knocked out. It's just fucking, you don't just fall down. You're just like,
man.
It's just the funniest thing. And those videos got pulled for abuse or whatever. But I thought that's what you get into. Donahue did a whole episode on it. Slam dancing.
Slam dancing.
The
Dude,
mosh pits.
Have you seen them
were
where they start swinging their arms around like
insane.
helicopters and beat
That's
the
where
living
my-
shit out of
I
each
had
other?
an eyebrow ring, and
Of
that
course
got
you did it.
pulled
Of
out.
course you would.
Yeah, I had an eyebrow ring, but it got pulled out during a mosh pit.
Didn't you have a nose ring? No.
But
still
they
have
were, I mean, the mosh
You
pits
still have
got
it,
really
right?
weird because
Yeah,
they
okay.
were regulated. Mosh pits started to become regulated because if there's anybody here that remembers the old garage stuff, especially in South Florida, like
Oh.
those hardcore bands, Brittany, Blood for Blood and all that, when they would go there,
Yeah.
they were just garage. They would rent like those storage unit areas and throw a big bash. But so then the preppy yuppie kids, they're like, oh, I like Metallica. And then they would like go to the fucking amphitheater and there's security there. There'll be none of that. And there'll be none of that. You can't wear that shirt. No spikes on your jacket, mister. So it turned into like, it was like flag football of mosh pits at the concerts. You know, it's just kids going.
Yeah.
Thing. But when
Yeah.
we were young, they
Yeah.
had nails pushed through their jacket. They'd make Freddy Krueger gloves and they'd start swinging. People would lose their eyes. A piece of their ear would be hanging off. And they fucking love it.
Yeah.
I remember going from raves, and then it was at college is when I started getting into like the punk mosh pits and all that kind of stuff. And it was just, so it went from like raves where you're just like, woo, you're just like, and you're filling each other up and you're all excited. And then it was the mosh pit and I was like, oh my God, what's going on? And just getting thrown into stuff. And yeah, eyebrow ring, belly button ring. I was like, okay, I gotta start wearing different things. This is not like the raves. It was very interesting for me, but the energy was different too. It's like on a super
The
hot
wall of death.
Yeah.
the wall of death.
It's right. He's right. I mean, I mean, they try to kill each other in those. It's just
Oh,
unreal,
no.
man. I mean,
What
dude.
happened? There we go.
But we don't have any of that really anymore. We have pretend ones and we have safe spaces. You farted near me. Oh my God. Come here. Let me put you in a little clouded room and tell you you're pretty. Get the fuck out of here. We don't need that. You're going to make another ass pussy to grow up in this planet.
Oh, yeah.
What the hell's wrong with you, dude? No wonder everybody gets upset. Come on. So
Yep.
I saw a t-shirt. We're not the same. We had mosh pits. You have safe spaces. Again, we're not the same. And I really wanted to buy it, but they don't have it available anymore. I think somebody got offended. But we're not the same. They're like, oh, that's terrible because safe spaces are for whatever Fruit Loops are running around out there. Bro, if you're brave enough to do that, you're brave enough to fucking take the beating. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Get hurt anymore.
What's that?
No. I said nobody wants to get hurt anymore physically.
I know, but sometimes you have to, man. Like, I mean,
it's what builds up strength. Like these challenges, pain is what builds up strength. And
I would probably look a lot different if I hadn't done that much shit. I mean, I've had my shit fucked up. Bro. You know, I see a lot of these guys, these young guys that like they'll tell me stuff like, "Oh man, I beat your ass. I'm a fighter." They talk about shit, but we would get beat up all the time. I worked in. It was me and we worked for Maximum Security, so that was a big, all major concerts, but mainly a lot of hip hop concerts. So me and 3 white guys were part of Dave Mawat's team. Think about that, right? They're like, these guys are nuts, dude, or they're just psycho, and there was just fight after fight after fight. Being in that industry for so long, I mean, I've had my teeth fucking knocked out. I put them in my pocket of my nice shirt. They kicked my fucking nose up underneath my eye socket here one time, so it's all fucked up. I got it. Yeah, so I've been through some fucking shit, but at the end of it, you felt pretty good, man. You know, you're like, that was a good one. We didn't die. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can handle it.
Yeah. So now,
when you were a bouncer, you went through some shit being a bouncer too.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, like that was.
I started getting older. I'm like, I got to work in the bar. I can't be out here no more. Good.
Yeah.
God.
I mean, it was nightly stories. Troy coming home from like.
My face all fucked up.
Yeah, it was bad. Those are actually fun stories, though. I'm not gonna lie. Like when he would come visit, or we'd go visit him, or he'd come and hang out and be like, "Oh, I'll just come hang out for the week or the night up there," and he'd drive up, and I'd be like, "What?"
Yeah, because it was crazy. That was the 90s.
He's like, "Yeah, this is what happened."
Early to mid 90s in the club business was a big fucking deal, man. I mean, there was no, you know.
I think it kept me out of the clubs. To be honest, like listening to how bad the clubs were from my brother's perspective of being a bouncer, and Stu, who like also was like a big brother at the time, who also worked with Troy at the club as a bouncer. That like when you listen to these stories, I was like, yeah, I think I'm good. And then when I started working, my friends like, we're going to this club, we're going here, because I I worked in Orlando at like the theme park. So everybody after hours would always go to like the main like places to go, either downtown Orlando, downtown Disney, whatever. And I'm always like, no, I'm good actually, because I know what's going to happen. It's going to start okay, and then it's going to end like shit because I see what happens to my brother. So I'm actually
Sometimes it
good.
does.
I'm just going to go home.
It's just really funny because I also worked in a sense at bars and clubs, but in a different perspective. And I thought they were great and had fun.
Maybe it was just different. I don't know. Maybe I would have had a good time. I don't know.
I was dancing.
Yeah, but the certain kind of clubs we worked in, Marissa wasn't dancing. It wasn't those types. I mean, we had some pretty rough shit. Like,
okay, yeah. I mean, it was still clubs though. I was still.
Yeah, I'm not saying that. Sometimes the clubs are good, but some of the events we would do, good God, dude. Like,
sure.
it was just, people.
I would not be dancing at those type of events. And when I say dancing, I mean like I'm talking about as a go-go dancer.
Oh yeah,
Right.
yeah, totally.
Right,
but that's
I mean, that's
different
okay.
though.
You're not gonna get. Oh, you're gonna worry about other girls.
Yeah.
No,
Well, go-go dancing depends. Were you up out of reach? Because I had friends that were go-go dancers in Orlando. Like they actually were up on podiums away from
And they
everybody.
would get touched.
Their feet and stuff or things like that. Yeah.
I don't remember anything ever really happening, but I think I also gave off that aura, like, don't fuck with me. And
Yeah. I think you could kind of pick the girls. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like I think
Yeah.
you kind of learn that. after a
real
while.
drunk.
whereas no.
Now let me ask you a question. I want to ask Marissa because Brittany wouldn't know. We used to have these. I worked for a nightclub for a lot of years called the Zuma Beach Club in Orlando, the Zuma Beach, and then it turned into Taboo Nightclub. While it was Zuma Beach Club, we used to have these big podiums that were, just high enough that you were at like crotch level with everybody if the girls were dancing on it. So I could never understand this. Like the girls would go up and dance. Some of them are not so desirable. Let's just put it that way. Like it's like someone filled up a fucking trash bag with Uganda cheese and was shaking it to the rhythm. Like, what in the God? Or do I have to look at this? Because I'm bartending on the backside. I think that. So like the guys would stand there and the girls would grind on their heads and stuff. Like literally, like they would put their whole junk on a dude's head and like grind on it and twerk or whatever. And the minute a guy would reach up and slap a butt cheek, they would fucking run over to us. He fucking assaulted me. And I'm thinking, you're just sitting on his face. What the fuck are we supposed to do with that? And it was like they always did it.
That's
Can someone tell me, is that okay? I mean, that's just.
no.
No.
I mean, honestly, if that's what the girl is doing, yeah, your ass is gonna get slapped or even more. Like, what the fuck are you?
Yeah, but they ran to us and then we had to have everybody leave. And if they fought back, then you all have to leave. So I'd say, listen, I saw you over there grinding on everybody's face. But if I throw him out and he complains about that, you're going too. So both of you are going to be outside grinding and slapping. So either you chill out or we don't. And then some people are like, oh, that's wrong. You let a woman get assaulted. I'm like, no, I never let anybody get assaulted. Never.
Zuma Beach, Craig. Yep.
But that's just that. That's just.
I can tell you, I can flat out tell you, if I had been a go-go dancer like that, and that's on you, chick. You're doing that shit to a guy, and then a guy wants to slap your butt because you've already been pushing the knob. He just is feeling like she's flirty. I can do this, and then all of a sudden you lose your shit on that. That's ridiculous.
Were still below the stage, but they were using the face.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying if you're grinding.
You said knob. I just thought you were knob.
Not in that term, but I'm just saying, like, if you're dancing provocatively and you're doing all that shit, and then they feel like you're flirting with them in an essence, and then that's like being a stripper and a guy slaps your butt, and you're like,
and they're doing this kind of stuff, and then they go, oh, and the minute it slaps, it's over.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That's on you. That's on you, girl.
Cheek, but you give it up.
Oh, that's totally on your. I just go on the podium or I'd be in the cage and I just be like, woo! It's just dancing because I just love dancing.
See, the cages were different. Cages were different.
Where like it was really crowded and you guys would get groped. That's just horrible.
I mean, I definitely remember if I was going up to a place ever so often, a guy would touch and stuff like that, and this is where I was glad my dad taught me self-defense. And self-defense and martial arts, because there are times I would fucking grab a person.
Let me guess, it was white dudes. Stop it right now because I got statistics, lady. Statistics.
I didn't say anything. I don't remember. Now let's remember there was a time I was living in Belfast, Northern Ireland, and guess what? There was a bunch of white guys there, and that's when I was a go-go. I was doing a lot of go-go dancing there, and ever so often I'd get hit.
Yes, Craig. I'm telling you, bro. Craig knows he went, and it was really hard too, Marissa, because. Yes. So white guys were doing it to you in Ireland. They were slapping you around. I mean,
no, I do. Like I remember that. It wasn't all the time, but it was one of those things, and that's where I think there was still that respect because I made sure I didn't go or whatever. I would not even get a bouncer because we obviously had bouncers and stuff. I would make sure that guy knew don't ever do that again. I would grab him in some way. Or to any
other women, right? Like you didn't want him to do it to any other women.
Exactly. I was very.
You can follow Doc Tellez. She's also leader of the Vigilantes on his group, Women's Movement in Police.
But like Marissa, correct me if I'm wrong, though. Okay. They were pretty. I would have to believe that they were pretty like quick to be like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I won't do that again." Right? Like when you actually got
Irish? Oh.
No. I don't mean like that. Like, I mean, like just in that moment when you're like, don't ever freaking do that again. Like, were they like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, I didn't mean to offend you like that. Or was it like, okay, I got you, whatever.
It was more like, I got you. I don't think I ever got a nice, I'm sorry. I got you.
It was just like, I got you. Okay. I won't do it.
Marissa knows who the number one grabbers were. We know who the number one grabbers of all the people in the world, red and yellow, black and white. They're all precious in his sight, but there's one. He's a grabber.
There's a precious in his sight.
Oh my God. Every now and then, with a couple times, it'd be a white dude, really drunk, Italian guy, but it's always the Mexicans. They like to grab because they're lower. So they like when they walk by, they do this like grab. I'm like, listen, bro, we can't do that in here. Like they thought it was okay because you got to understand some cultures, that's okay. Like if you look at some of those clubs in Mexico where they're dancing, the guys dance on every girl and they like it. Over here, girls have a chip on their shoulder. So you have this little guy, he's visiting from Tampico. He goes in there, he grabs a bun.
Brazilians love to grab. Brazilians love to grab.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, dude.
Don't even get started.
It's always you guys, you Latin spicers. Most white guys, unless they're Italian, they're scared to death. They wouldn't do it. They're like, you do it, and I'll just say it was me. I grew up in a different culture. I would never do that. I don't think there's anybody here, Craig, or any one of us that were older, just walk up and help yourself to somebody. I never could understand. That to me is disgusting. Like, first of all,
like when was the turning point of that to even happen? Like when was the turning?
Forever. Yeah, forever. I don't ever remember not being there ever. I don't know about now because I can't stand being in there.
No. I can count on probably both hands how many times I actually went to a club, only because either there was an event there that I had friends involved in. I was coming to see them and support them.
I probably have Brazilian children.
They tried to get Troy many times.
They always didn't try. I mean, you could just walk through that room and 4 of them will be pregnant. Fucking shit they eat. Good God. The problem with the Brazilians is back in the 90s, you couldn't tell how old they were. So
yeah.
You just didn't do it.
You still couldn't tell.
I'd have to have a passport. And I
first of all, listen, when we would go to see Troy at medieval times, and this is a true story, Mom can validate it.
I know Shirley said it. And Jeremy Turner.
No. Yeah, and Jeremy.
And Todd. Yeah.
Didn't Ralph too? He was.
No, he had black hair.
They didn't want Ralph?
To them. No, it wasn't.
Well, Troy knew that all he had to do, because Troy had long hair, everybody, like super long, like far down to the middle of his back. And he had his side shaved and he had nice, long, like really nice blonde hair. And he knew all he had to do if he walked out from the curtain, and it was Brazilian night, because a couple times we went, it'd be like,
I'll just walk out.
Red and yellow would be full of Brazilian girls because of the group, right? All Troy'd have to do is like walk out from the curtain, and Troy knew what to do, and everybody'd laugh at him. And he would do it sometimes at looking at Ralph, to look at Ralph and be like, look, watch this shit. And he would just go, flip his hair back. And Troy had a certain way that he would do this. He would run his fingers like this, and he would run it back like this, and just kind of shake the entire. When I'm telling you, as a
throw underwear
sister,
at me and stuff, it was awesome, bro. When I mean you live like a rock star.
When they
awesome.
tell you, like, "Oh, cheer for your night," right? And it's like, "Oh, everybody stomps their feet."
Killed my horse one time.
It about freaking broke the stage that like the podiums where they would sit for their food. They would grab.
You're giving me a lot of credit here.
I'm not giving you a lot of credit. Mom can vouch for this. They would scream. It was like
I know, but they were Brazilian. Me, Jeremy Turner,
it's ridiculous.
Had really long blonde hair. My buddy John had really long blonde hair.
What's going on?
And the other guys, one of my favorite guys, Jaybird. There, he was Hawaiian, so he just had real black hair. He's very native Hawaiian looking. He was a really cool guy. But if we would like have it in our helmet, and if we took our helmet off and we flick our hair and it was golden blonde, that's all it takes. You could be the ugliest bastard on earth just because you have blonde hair. So, but yeah, it would just be fun to do. That's how we do. I'd be like, I'd run out, run back in, and be Brazilian night.
And it would just be. I mean, the whole thing would just. I mean, it was insane. Yeah, it was ridiculous.
So did John. It was John that looked more like me.
It was weird.
John Greer. You ever watch him?
Look me
up, bro.
As a little sister, it was like, what the hell is going on?
I'm going to talk about this before I get kicked off for 5 minutes. I told Marissa about the guy you calls him to kill himself.
Oh, for the love of God, I did not.
I
did not.
And then like a day later, he took his life.
It wasn't a day later. It was not a day later. It was not a. It was so funny. It was the funniest thing is I'm walking in the hallway of my entertainment job. He worked with Troy first, and then he worked with me. Yeah, and then he ended up working with me at another location for show with horses and stuff.
What you did to him?
I will talk off camera of like we're not going to talk. I didn't do anything to him. All I did was I put him in his place. You don't treat women like shit, and I'm not one of those women. Sorry, don't come to me.
3'4". He
was my height,
like the Jolly Green Giant.
Well, so here's the funny part, Marissa, right? Like, I already knew who he was. Because I had already been to medieval times and grown up with my brother in those environments. I already knew him.
Like, God, dude. Oh, my God.
Jeez, Mom. So anyway,
that's not our mom. Don't call her that.
But it was just funny because the first time we met in the hallway, he, like, comes up to me and he's like, I noticed your last name. And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, you didn't happen to have a brother that worked at Medieval Times, did you? And I said, well, he started with Medieval Times. And I said, yeah. And I just looked at him and he was like, are you his little sister? And I was like, yes. And I was like, and I know exactly who you are. And I told him like his whole name because it was like my first time seeing him and I hadn't even read his paperwork or anything.
Don't put his name.
I'm not, of course not. And I was like, yes. And then he was like, okay. He's like, your brother was an interesting guy. I'm like, well, he said the same thing about you. And I just like walked away.
I got to tell you though, Brittany, I felt bad for that little guy. He was just this little guy that wanted to be found out. He was just, I think he was bullied a lot because, he looked like a little girl. And the guys, I didn't do this, but the guys would do stuff to him and hang him by his feet and stuff in the locker. And,
he never said that you did anything to him. He just said your brother was an interesting guy is what he said to me.
And hung him in the locker.
He was an interesting guy. Yeah. My biggest beef with him was the way that he would treat women and animals. Like he would punch his horse square in the face. I don't know about
that, but I just think
so. And I saw it with my own eyes. So like that, it always bothered me.
She needed a beating once in a while. She was just that kind of girl.
No, not his girlfrind. I knew her. No.
Yeah, she was smaller than him. When he punched her, she's like, "Come on, the mosquitoes are up, Brittany. I want to go get a cup of coffee." I mean, that guy couldn't hurt anything. He was so small.
Just talking about his size, anybody that sees this is gonna be like, I know who they're talking about. Like, I know who they're talking about.
Only the people that know me know. I didn't know he was going to.
Or people that know me know. I'm sorry.
You were the cause of it, though.
I was not. I was not. No, I was not.
Fucking 80s love music and it was just.
No, I was not. No, I was not. You know what's really funny though? Here's the craziest thing. My childhood. Here's the weirdest way the world.
Yeah, but what way did he slam her against the truck? Because there's a couple different ways you could do that, Ma.
No, we
actually. It's not always bad.
We're not going to talk about all this. Stop typing all this stuff on here, Judy. But what's funny how the world works though, Marissa, is like, so he worked with Troy, right? Years before I started working with him at another venue. Okay. But then my childhood friend growing up where I grew up in Florida ended up coming to work with me, getting hired at the venue I was working at and became his roommate. My friend from childhood that I had lost contact with walks in to walk and to work with the horses and work with us behind the scenes and then work in the show. And I'm like, dude. And he's like, oh my God, we hadn't seen each other since we were like 15, like 14 and 15 years old. And he's like, oh my God. And then he ends up being his roommate. He needed a place to stay. And he's like, you can come live here and be my roommate. Cause he had like a converted garage. So that's where he moved into. And I was like, this is such a, no, I was like, this is such, I believe if I'm not mistaken, he was the one that actually found him.
Ornament in that garage.
I think if my memory,
hanging on a tree.
he
oh my God, you did it. I don't care. The guy was whatever. I felt bad for him, but
I had nothing to do with that.
Been a problem, dude. Can you imagine an even smaller version of him assaulting women's knees?
Women's knees?
Well, I mean, he was about that tall. He always wanted to be a knight and stuff, and he just never could make it. You know what I mean? So he just had it hard, man. But you know, you don't give up. I've seen lesser people not give up.
I never
make fun of it because that's a selfish thing to do, man. Come on.
I was never mean to him. I stayed out of the way.
You did have someone that loved him, regardless if you did.
But the moment you come at me and you give me attitude, and Troy, you taught me.
You'll Hillary Clinton his ass. I already know what you're gonna say.
Yeah, and so I was like, "You're not doing this to me, and don't you dare shove me and put your hands on me behind the scenes and thinking you can get away with that." No, and so
Marissa's
I grabbed him.
Anything like that?
And I told him no.
Nice, gentle person. She Krav Maga's him or whatever that is.
I don't have a problem.
Capoeiro, whatever. I can never say
it.
Capoeira.
Listen, I will say this live on camera, whether you're male or female, if you push the envelope and you think that because you're a certain sex, you can't be treated a certain way, but you literally can attack and hurt somebody, I don't care. You deserve to get your ass whipped. So if you're a woman and you go at a man and you literally think you can be, you can't touch me, I can do this, and I did bullshit. He has every right, if he has tried to walk away from you multiple times, to knock your ass out. I don't care. Gosh, you're going to act like a man. You're going to be treated like one. I'm sorry. End of story. We women did this to ourselves, and I put it out here, and I'm going to say this because no, like I think it's respect. If I want my man to respect me, I should respect him. If he does not earn my respect, I shouldn't be with him, and I don't want him around me. That's right. Follow me. I'm going to be joining the Vigilante Vagina soon, because I'm standing up for at least that part of the women that I'm sorry. I wouldn't go punch a dude. I just wouldn't punch a dude and be like, you can't punch me.
But you know, it's funny though. You have to admit it's pretty funny. I like seeing people get hurt. I don't care what sex you are.
I do.
Like I've been hurt before and I have to laugh at myself. But I've seen some hilarious ways of getting hurt. Like it sucks, but it's funny. And I've seen girls go up to straight up knock a dude out, because they smacked them in the face. He hit them so hard their shoes flew into the next parking lot. I laugh.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know what happens when you get involved? She'll turn on you.
Of course. 100%. Yeah, you're the bad guy.
Unless you're part of the, Yeah, let me put that up for you. Thanks.
Yeah, I know. I saw that.
Marissa's not talking. She's like,
no, she was nodding her head in agreement.
Anyways,
what was really funny.
We take children of all sexes out, and we do crocodile awareness.
We teach no arguing. Knocked out guys before. I told you I've knocked out guys before.
Yeah, but has a guy knocked you out?
She just told you in soccer, knocked her teeth sideways.
No. I mean, you were like, fuck you. And then he's like, no, because I know you're probably pretty bad, but couldn't there some guys that do that capoeiro shit pretty tough? They could probably kick your head off too. I mean, there's some.
Well, actually, no. So what ended up happening, now that you say that, I got in a fight during a capoeira tournament with a guy.
And you beat him. It's okay. You can say it. He was a green belt or whatever. It's all right.
No. He was a professor. Like he was like very, very high up.
And you still beat him?
I got him, and then he did an illegal kick at me, and it actually threw me out of the circle. And I fucking got up, but because of him, I had to get wrist surgery.
Wow.
And
after you shouldn't be competing in a man's sport. Come on, that was a good one. You walked into that.
Troy. When are you coming back to the Leafs? When am I going to see you again?
Never now.
Like a boom.
I'll bring a
he froze.
Yeah.
Oh.
Am I still froze?
No, you're back.
Yeah, you guys froze too, both of you. It's that weird. We're saying stuff. They're trying to shut me down. can tell.
Yeah, it's because we're saying stuff against the narrative.
Oh, narrative. We're having a good time. I don't care what you do. If you can beat someone at the game, you beat it at the game. But sometimes it's just funny. I'll say this.
Listen.
I'm just so sick and tired of people not being able to laugh at anything. Just have some fun.
Listen, when I have to tell a story.
Thank
So when John and I first started dating, it was so funny because he was like, I'm going to take us to a hockey game. But the one thing he didn't know about me is I don't really enjoy the game. I like when they get into a fight. So this is the best part of hockey.
That's why anybody watches
freaking best part. Oh my God, I love it. So I had a friend that I worked with at Halloween Horror Nights who I worked with, right? He was like a pro hockey player. Like that's what he did. And he still continued to play and was teaching. And like, we would talk about, he's like, yeah, half my teeth in my head are fake. Like XYZ, we get beat up, we lose shit all the time. Right. So like we're talking. So I go on this date with John to go to see this hockey game. He got really close. And then it's like, oh my gosh, like here comes the first fight. I'm getting pumped, like out of my seat. I'm going to get to see sticks flying, teeth, blood, I'm pumped. And they're like, no, break it up. And they break it up before it even gets anywhere. And they put them in their penalty boxes. And I'm like, what? And I freak out on John. And I'm like, no, let them fight. Let them fight. That's what I'm saying. And John's like, who are you? Like, what the thing? And I said, no, you understand? Like, I love a good fight. Like, and he goes, well, if I knew that,
he's a peacemaker, you know?
He's like, if I knew that, I would have taken you to MMA or something tonight. I didn't know. I'm like, that's not the same. These guys actually hate each other. They really want to be. You should not have made that score on that guy, and he's pissed off, and they have the right to fight about it. I'm like, this is like true street fighting. Let them have it on the ice. So it was like after, I think it was like into the second, all of a sudden they just let the one guy you see them like kind of backing off for a minute, and then I got to see some blood. Like the guy had blood coming out of his mouth, and then he got put. I'm like, thank you. I'll have my Coke now. I feel validated. Okay, this is good.
Not the kind
somebody
of
lost a tooth.
Different kind of Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola, not an 8-ball. So I was like, listen, this is great. I was totally excited about my night. And after that, and then John was just like, we were driving home. He's like, I had no idea. I'm like, you can ask my mom. I was always the one. If we were out and Troy was there and Stu was there and somebody did something stupid, I was always like, hey, Troy, the guy's kind of doing some stupid shit over there. Might want to go check that out. Because I was like, could Troy, like, is this guy going to start something? I want to watch my brother knock this guy out.
Killed.
But it was always funny to me. I was like, and fights would break out at Ale House. We'd go to Ale House after work. It was awesome. It's after the hour.
It's okay. We're going to end the stream. Thank you for Marissa coming out. Yeah. Thanks for everybody coming out and talking to us on the Motley Croc Show. And I like all the comments. We really like to be provocative and poked. Well, Brittany doesn't, but I do. But anyways, everybody have a great week. We're going to be back here next Thursday. We'll get on some other crazy topics. We'll kind of pick up where we left off. We'll talk about Brittany's date to the Steel Panther concert when she first started going out. Next week, folks. That's something I want you to talk about.
Oh my God, I want to hear about that.
Oh, you will. You will. This is going to happen next week.
It was fun.
So I will definitely thank everybody for coming out. Marissa's got to go. I got to go. Brittany's got to go. Thank you, guys. Thanks for all the therapy, hanging out, starting problems. We love you, and we'll see you next week.